Ziggs, though. I don't think we will. We'll see what the mid lane's going to be from Sashin here. And Gragas going to, yeah, I mean, Gragas definitely want to take away after that Rek'Sai ban. Nautilus being picked up early. Interesting to see, say the least, but if you're going to do that, are you going to go for Urgot? That's a big question. Because Thresh is still open. But it looks like maybe they will go for that Nautilus. Maokai is also open for that top lane. Some odd priority picks here from these two teams, XENICS and Prime. And Nunu gonna be picked up. Oh boy! Why don't we go for Nunu jungle and then Ziggs on the other side? We can have a brilliant 15-minute game of League of Legends. Just kidding, that's not actually what I want. I love Ziggs as a champion, by the way. I love playing Ziggs. I've always liked Ziggs, even when Monty hated Ziggs back in the day. I loved Ziggs, but not today. Not today. In fact, I wouldn't mind it as much if my allergies weren't hitting me so hard, but that's actually the worst part. The whole, like, talking to myself thing is, I'm actually pretty used to that at this point. I think I could do it. I think I could keep doing it, but the whole sniffling my nose, not so fun. I think the Gnar is fine for Kakarot. If they're not prioritizing Maokai to begin with, why not go with the Gnar? Kakarot's Gnar was pretty good. His positioning was really good in just providing a threat as a tank, as a front line. And then the Sivir being picked up instead of the Jinx. Although Lunar's Jinx was good, I guess everyone's still agreeing that Sivir is still kind of the go-to for AD carries. So what do you pick here for Prime? Are you going to wait until the very end to pick your mid laner? Because, I don't know, you picked your support, you picked your jungle. I think, I mean, your lane matches for both top and mid are also revealed. There's no point in necessarily saving AD for last either once Sivir's been taken. I mean, you're probably going to take Lucian or Urgot at this point. I only mentioned Urgot because you have Nautilus. If not, I probably wouldn't mention Urgot anymore at this point either, considering none of these teams picked it today. So, what are we going to see from Prime? Only 10 seconds left on the countdown clock. And yeah, Lucian makes sense. And then Maokai. Okay. Maokai coming out. Yeah, the cannon was a little bit of a miss last time, as cannons generally tend to go. The longer the game draws out, the tougher it is to land a really good cannon ult. And Sejuani jungle seems reasonable after Rek'Sai's been banned down and Gragas taken away. And then Thresh also seems reasonable. So a pretty just overall reasonable pick lane to lane from XENICS. Pretty much high priority picks in each role down the line. Now what's in the mid lane from Prime? I wonder. I really do. I have this bad feeling that it's going to be Ziggs. I really do. The audience, the Korean cast was mentioning Ziggs too, and the audience is like, no. But I really think Ziggs, because here's the thing, right? Well, okay, I guess for Prime it is also do or die time, so you can try to go with something much more aggressive, but it's Azir, like, it's so hard to play super aggressive against Azir. And then there's a Sivir on the other side, like for mid, it's just, I think Ziggs is just the safest, right? And for Prime, okay, you either go all in or you go with the safest. And given what they've picked already, I think you go with what's safer if you're Prime. But if you're me, I suggest you don't go Ziggs. 5 seconds left. Ooh, Morgana mid. Huh, okay. Well, still has decent wave clear. Not as much as Ziggs, nowhere near close, but not too bad. And the wave clear from Morgana is like okay. It's just that it's over time. but there's a ton of CC from Prime. I mean, you have guaranteed targeted CC from both Nautilus and Maokai, and then you have the Dark Binding coming in, you have the Body Slam from Gragas. If any of XENICS gets caught once by any of the Prime members, they will be caught there for the next, I'd wager anywhere from, let's say 6 to 8 seconds. And that's a long time in League of Legends. Now, Sivir has a Spell Shield, thankfully, and Gnar will be really tanky, so if those get caught, well, Sivir probably won't because of Spell Shield, or shouldn't, and Gnar will be too tanky that, in fact, maybe those 6 to 7 seconds will be negative. It'll have a side effect for Prime, but we'll see if they can catch a Zir with that CC. Even with Emperor's Divide, I think they can still do enough damage from across the wall or from the side with other people that Prime might be able to kill them off. So Prime, it's all about that CC just being chained very well against XENICS, whereas XENICS, again, just has a little bit of a safer game plan, in my opinion, just picking what is high priority picks in each lane. They can team fight decently, they can split push decently. The game is ready, guys. Let's jump right into set number 2 between XENICS and Prime in this last best of 3 for the last spot in Champion Summer. So, funny story, when I was in high school, my friend was suffering from, I think it was more like the flu, but anyway, a severe cold in the spring. And oftentimes, in late spring, like when spring comes around, in most schools, it's test season, because it's near the end of a semester. So my friend, he shows up during like one of our free periods, halfway through the morning, in one of the break rooms. He's like, totally out of it. And I'm like, hey dude, you okay? And he goes, so I have this really bad cold, and I took medicine on my way out because we have tests today and I didn't want to have to be blowing my nose all day. And I feel really tired, and suddenly my brother calls me and he goes, hey dude, why'd you leave the NyQuil on the table? And so he meant to take Dayquil, but he took NyQuil on his way to school during test season. And he actually ended up not finishing one of his tests that day because he was so tired that he couldn't like focus on the test. He was just barely fighting to stay awake. I felt really bad for the guy, but at the time I kind of laughed at it. It was a funny story. So don't make that mistake. Now, aside from that story, apparently the story wasn't long enough that the game hasn't already gone by 10 minutes and we have tons of action happening. So I have nothing else to talk about during the next couple of minutes, because it's going to be pretty straightforward. I guess one thing to note is, once again, this time XENICS not going to show up with any jungle camps having been taken, so no level advantage for them. Whereas Prime this time around on the purple side will take the Gromp and show up with a slight experience advantage for themselves on the purple side. So Lucian's going to hit level 2 pretty quickly. And once again, it's Thresh Sivir, so not going to be as aggressive. Nautilus Solutions can be still pretty aggressive, though. Relatively similar to Thresh Lucian, in the sense that you have a long-range CC that you can lead into even more CC when you're Nautilus. Wow. This Nautilus skin, did it get a texture update? Did Nautilus in general get a texture update? Maybe it's just been a while since I've seen it. It kind of looks like, I'm trying to think of what it's reminding me of, but it's kind of funny looking in a positive way. Well, now for Prime, they really need to fight back, because if they lose here, back to the challenger scene for you, along with winners from yesterday. Whereas for XENICS, just one game and you can be back and be relevant in the professional League of Legends scene here in Korea. It's been a little while. Pretty much the last time we saw them was when Oki was still there, and then Oki made, you know, a splash for himself, got picked up by Najin, and that XENICS roster disbanded more or less. I think some of the other players also, I forget who else was there. I feel like 3 of them moved on to other teams, but I don't think a lot of them ended up staying. I may be completely wrong on that, though. Maybe I'm just remembering Oki because he was the biggest thing there. Now, aside from all of that, Catch looks like he might get the upper hand here. Oh, but Kakarot putting the ward down just in time. Twisted Advance comes through, but oh, okay. Kakarot flashed away probably because he thought Catch was going to flash after the body slam. He saw because he flashed as soon as he saw the body slam go over the wall, like finish coming over the wall. So I think that's fair because I was actually wondering if Catch was going to flash over the body slam or after the body slam. So good for Catch. He blew the flash from Kakarot, so he has a chance to gang top again sometime soon. Of course, he did see the ward in the river, so we won't see it anytime too soon. Meanwhile, the mid lane is going to be the same story pretty much because Morgana can... In fact, it'll be even more interesting because Morgana can absorb damage while pushing. So Morgana's probably going to still win the push war here, as Morgana's pretty much always do in mid lane. It's a bad day if you get pushed out of lane as Morgana in mid, unless you're like 2v1 all the time. Well, really nothing to talk about. I mean, if someone wanted to start off by buying an elixir, I could talk about that and how crazy that is and how no one should do that. But you know what I miss? I miss level 1 Elixir of Alacrity start Misfortune. Green pot start Misfortune in lane. Get a crit on your first shot. Win the lane automatically. Those were the days. But we don't have that anymore. But then again, if we're talking about those were the days when Jax could dodge tower shots and Twisted Fate was played AD. So I guess I can't really complain too much. And now that I've talked about that optics, I've used up all my resources in talking about League of Legends. Gragas is prepared for a lane gank, but it's not going to happen anytime soon because the lane's a bit iffy in terms of minion wave control. In fact, it's because they were trying to pressure XENICS out. It's going to start pushing back out, and Secret actually gets Death Sentence and then Flay. It takes quite a bit of damage. That's going to give XENICS a little bit of breathing room, but at the end of the day, if Secret lands his dredge line onto one of the champions from XENICS, whoa! Nice ultimate by Kakarot, but he's still way lower on health. Meanwhile, Soul went back first, actually, so he has, an extra item. He has more pods, so he's able to win that trade and shove him out of lane, shove Kakarot out of lane. And Soul is still ahead in items, too, because of that, or CS, rather. Hex Drinker being finished by Gnar first, and Gnar's going to walk all the way back to lane. I don't know. That minion wave's already at the tower. I know it wasn't big, but I feel like it would have been worth it to soak up that XP and gold, because Maokai is also ahead in experience. A little bit of an interesting choice from Kakarot not to use his teleport there, in my opinion. Mid lane is pretty much the top lane this game around, because it's super quiet, super straightforward. One person pushing, one person picking up the farm while pushed. Nothing too crazy until Sashin lands some sweet, sweet dark binding right at the edge, and then it will burst into action. The bottom line's kind of the same too, because so Nautilus can't be as confident about dredge lining in, because as soon as he turns his back, he takes so much damage, like he can't do anything about that. Whereas Thresh can like Death Sentence and then maybe even wait on the Flay and just play them backwards and just try to get a couple of free hits in that way or something like that. But Nautilus is by nature an all-in champ, right? You commit when you go in. There's no like, oh, dredge line in and then just walk back out. Like, you dredge line in, you auto then to stun them, and then you riptide them and you stick onto them with your shield and try to put out as much damage as you can. So I think that's why we're seeing a little passivity from both sides in that bottom lane. Also because neither side has like really amazing vision. I guess XENICS continues to have a little bit of a vision advantage across the map. But neither side really has too much awareness about the enemy's jungler, except for just now, because we saw that ping on Gragas, that the bottom lane also was too scared of it turning into a 2v3, because then it could be really disastrous, given Nautilus and Thresh as supports, respectively. Catch taking the side to take the Scuttle Crab. He's been spotted before, so they know that he's probably there still. He's going to get spotted again as he walks into that entrance. Now we're back to just passive farming from both sides across the map. And again, this is okay for XENICS though. Uh-oh. Shaft's still here. Uh-oh. And there's On the Hunt. Secret gets caught with the Distance. They're still trying to go onto Nuclear, but they turn back around. Uh-oh, because of the teleport, XENICS has to back out. Teleport still coming through from Kakarot and Soul. A bit of an unfortunate split and targeting. They still wanted to target Nuclear when I think Secret being caught by the Distance. They could have just gone on Secret. I know he's Nautilus and he's supposed to be tanky, but at level 6 with support items, like, you don't have to worry about too much if there's 3 people beating down on him. So this actually gives Prime a chance to start Dragon, given that they do have Maokai, but they are pincered a little bit. Dark Binding zones out Azir. So now it's XENICS juggling that. Oh, but the Empress Divine is going to push them back, and Candy going to have to cleanse and flash out of a catch in the thick of things, but TML flashes over the wall. Shaft is caught under the Morgana ultimate. He will go down towards the jungle entrance of Prime. Prime continuing the fight. There's a stun onto TML. Nuclear is at pretty good health, but a nice Snar ult stops him in the middle. TML still trying to survive. Soul will finish off that kill as we see Nuclear trying to escape. Boomerang Blade trying to put some damage onto Soul. Maokai picks it up and goes back into lane. So all in all, a 2-for-1 advantage for Prime in that fight. Kakarot's ult saving TML from Nuclear, but eventually he still went down to Soul. So watch this. Candy first gets caught, so he insta-cleanses. Emperor's Divide doesn't affect Soul, but affects Nuclear. And now catches in the middle of it, but nice explosive cast. It's TML back and Shaft and Kakarot into Morgana's ultimate range. Lunar does pick up a kill with the Boomerang Blade, but we see Shaft get killed at the top side of the screen there. Secret gets one nice stun onto TML, and Nuclear tries to chase through. A nice Gnar ult keeps Nuclear at bay, but he will escape thanks to a Dark Binding, and eventually Soul will finish that kill for Prime, giving them the 2-1 lead in that team fight. And they do have a slight gold lead because of that, but Dragon is still up. All towers are still up also. So XENICS returns for a quick Dragon. Gnar came back to the bottom side of the map to secure this Dragon for them since Maokai showed up top. So Kakarot just kind of giving up on a lot of CS throughout this game to try to act more team-oriented. You know, he saved that teleport earlier on, and so that he had the advantage, or not the advantage, but the chance to teleport at the same time as Soul into the bottom lane, which eventually led into that Dragon fight. And Kakarot passing by, sees Catch, but Sashin's also here. And yep, there's the smite from Catch. Steal that blue away from Candy. And Soul, though, has pushed up a lot. He has a 20 CS lead now against Kakarot. That's going to matter quite a bit as he continues to stay ahead in levels. And why that's going to matter is because Soul as Maokai is going to be super tanky. I mean, Gnar can get tanky too, but Soul is going to be pretty tanky. Kakarot just clearing as fast as he can now. Trying to catch up in whatever methods he can in CS in that top lane. Again, for XENICS, they just have to kind of play it calm. I mean, they took the first Dragon. They are 1,000 down in gold, but no towers down. So XENICS just has to play it slow. They've got the Azir, they have a Gnar, they have a Sivir. I think they can afford to play the slow and steady game here. It's not like you have a super hyper carry on the side of Prime. Of course, Maokai will get super tanky, and Lucian can carry pretty hard, but it's not too bad. Prime. Oh, Scrying Orb used on the brush across. Trying to clear the ward. TML gets a little too eager. Oh, the Sejuani ult misses, and they pull TML in. There's explosive cash. TML gets caught And a kill for Prime. XENICS, they seem a little trigger happy right now, just a little bit. Oh man, I feel like Timo could have waited until they actually just walked forward to clear the ward itself, because Prime had no way of knowing that XENICS was still hiding in there. They used the scrying orb to check the further brush. Grau is still here to help pressure this lane, trying to deny a little bit more CS from Lunar and Shaft, and they're actually just going to chase Lunar out. Shaft gets left alone under the tower. That wasn't the plan for XENICS. Another kill for Prime. We are en route to a match point after this one, ladies and gentlemen. Prime trying to take as much of a lead as they can to tie up the match score 1-1. XENICS, I mean, I just finished saying that. I think XENICS just has to play it slow and steady. And here comes Prime with some good counter-aggression, or preemptive aggression in some ways, against XENICS to get a 4-1 kill lead. They are 2,000 gold ahead now, and it's a little bit of a different story than it was 2 minutes ago. And we are seeing TML. Why is TML there? Oh, I guess he just walked in to try to ward, and then he flashed the wall. I'm pretty sure, because I saw the flash protocol and just went on cooldown. And there's no way he flashed into the enemy jungle. So, TML making things interesting for Prime. There's a body slam from Catch, but not going to matter. Does not connect. Meanwhile, Lunar takes a lot of damage from Nuclear, but Nuclear is out of mana, so he's not going to chase through. And also, Shaft is still here. Well, Shaft just chilling out on that ward. Shaft is spending a lot of time here in the bottom lane, which is giving Catch a level advantage also alongside the top lane level advantage. Soul still one level ahead. Meanwhile, Catch trying to make something happen in bottom lane. Candy calling for help, or in the mid lane rather, where Candy is calling for help on the XENICS side of things. Excuse me. Sashin's still just trying to shove in as much as possible, but Candy, before you knew it, has started getting a lead on CS. Sashin does have 2 assists, but it doesn't matter for Azir if you have assists or not. As long as he doesn't have deaths and he has enough CS, regardless of how much you have, he can hard carry the game later on. I mean, that's just a fact for Azir. But TML has given 3 kills to the enemy team right now, and Lucian is 3-2. I said that Lucian's not the biggest of hyper carries, but if he gets this much of a lead, he will carry the game pretty well. And regardless of leads, I mean, we saw Bang do that. If the team allows it, then you can run amok and continue putting out a lot of damage as Lucian. Generally, any champion that has a decent balance between skill and auto damage, you're going to see that. We see that with Ezreal. He's not known to be a hyper carry, but he can carry late game, especially if you go blue build. So, tower goes down, and bottom, Prime, I like this because they understand that while Lucian can do good damage late game, they have this advantage, and there's an Azir on the other side. Might as well try to just keep pushing the advantage as soon as you can, as soon as you see those opportunities line up one after the other. Dragon's going to come up in 10 seconds. Can Prime get this one for themselves, which will also give them the damage buff on their AP and AD, and they can compete a little bit better against XENICS. XENICS is set up first for this Dragon. Candy zoning out Catch. Here comes the teleport from both Soul and Kakarot. And we are going to see Soul arrive first. There's On the Hunt being activated. Soul goes in, but Kakarot's going to turn into Mega Nard. There's Emperor's Divine, and Catch already goes down to Lunar. Lunar is still at full health right at the Dragon Pit. Meanwhile, Candy gets caught by both the Maokai and the Nautilus. Shaft is going to get a kill onto Sasha, but Lunar from behind the river tries to put out as much damage, but Maokai will not die, nor will Nautilus. Nautilus chasing forward with Dredgeland, and it connects onto TML. That's going to be a double kill for Nuclear. Flashing forward for another stun, and then the twisted advance onto Lunar. There's the slow as Nuclear and Secret get the ace for Prime. Really good fight from Prime. Although Lunar stayed alive for quite some time, Lunar also wasn't able to put out damage the entire time given his positioning. So Prime was able to finish the fight with Nuclear being alive just as well. So Prime trying to take this dragon right now. Catch is back here with full health, full mana, and smite. So it does look like XENICS will have to give this one up. Prime suddenly extending their lead by over 5,000 gold at 19 minutes. And then we're back to just quiet farming. 2 towers, though, in favor of Prime instead of only just 1 for XENICS. So that's a pretty good advantage for Prime if they can keep pushing it. And whoa, what happened here? Shaft gets caught out by Catch and Sashin. And so XENICS really just frantically trying to even things out by taking top tower, but Lunar is going to get caught by the Twisted Advance. But of course takes the Lantern thanks to Spell Shield, blocking Arcane Smash. And Catch does have his ult explosive cast, but not really a good angle for that here in the top lane. And whoa, look at the ping coming in from mid lane. Sashin is shoving in the tier 2 against XENICS. XENICS, Candy is showing up, and he does do a lot of damage. He's trying to chase through, but he won't catch up to Sashin just yet. Already used his E. Meanwhile, a call for help from Kakarot this time around. That tower is really low. I think Kakarot's just going to have to give it up to Prime. As Lucian shows up, a 5-0-5 Lucian with an IE and a nearly finished Static Shiv is pretty scary. Look at that damage coming in from Morgana, too. Mid Morgana does hurt a lot, and as soon as she gets her Zonias after that Morello Nomicon, she will make some big plays for Prime. So XENICS now responding with their own multi-man push here in mid. Thresh putting in the box early just to make sure that Prime can't chase through. A nice Death Sentence and a play, but the explosive cast trying to save Soul. Soul is still alive. Arcane Maelstrom so strong, but here comes Nautilus, a 3-man knockup with his ultimate, but not enough damage followed through from that, thanks to Azir putting up his turret at the tier 1 here in mid, chasing away Prime from diving that tower. And they couldn't steal the blue either, because the fight was extended, so Prime should be able to secure that for themselves. But Catch a little bit scared because he doesn't have mana, and Morgana's not there to pick it up right away. Kakarot will steal the red, though. And now things are, they're not even still, but again, XENICS looks okay. If they can keep the gold gap at only 5,000 for the next 20-25 minutes, then I think XENICS can feel pretty good about the game and they can probably win it. But at the same time, for now, Prime still does have a lead. They just need to roll it down the hill. I mean, basically, Prime is playing with a watermelon here, where it can get rolling pretty fast, but as soon as it hits a rock, it's just going to blow up into bits. And so that's what Prime needs to do with their snowball. I mean, they can get it rolling pretty fast given Lucian's score and everything. But one big misplay during a team fight or something, and all that goes down the drain. And meanwhile, XENICS has no intent of rushing the game. I mean, the only time they have to rush is like the last, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes where Prime started trying to rush in all these advantages. XENICS just has to respond, and so XENICS just needs to keep their head in the game. If every time Prime tries to rush in an objective, which Prime wants to do, but if every time they do that, XENICS can counter with one themselves, then XENICS is okay with that, as long as it's not an inhibitor for a tower or something like that. So XENICS so far is still in okay hands in this game. Dark Banding not going to hit Shaft. Even then, didn't look like there was going to be enough follow-up from Prime. Meanwhile, Nuclear. All right, well, We're looking at gold here for all the members. Nuclear is sitting at 400 gold. He pretty far from a last Whisper. A minute and 20 left until Dragon. If he shows up with a last Whisper at the Dragon, it'll make a big difference, especially because Kakarot actually has no armor right now, only magic resist. So even without the last Whisper, Nuclear will do pretty good damage, but if he gets a last Whisper, that Gnar is squishy to the solution. But I don't think he's going to have enough time to finish it, at least not until the Dragon spawns, but maybe they can extend it enough that Lucian can show up with it before Gnar gets any decent armor items. On the flip side, Sejuani does have okay armor with the Glacial Shroud. Meanwhile, Azir looking for that death cap here for Candy on XENICS. And Prime. 2 people up top. Nice scrying orb to spot Lunar and TMO, the bot lane duo of XENICS. Prime is, they're all pretty far from Dragon. No Magic Mantle coming in for Lucian. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have against Azir. And the QSS is nice to have against Gnar, Sejuani, and Thresh. But I would have liked to see him actually just go full-on more aggressive. It's not like he was in much of a danger in the previous team fights. So this does seem a little preemptive. I mean, it probably also was affected by how much gold he had left, but regardless, that is what he settled for. Dragon was activated by Riptide, but are they going to continue it? Yeah, Prime going to start the Dragon. XENICS, will they fight for this? They are trying to drag it on for as long as possible, but here comes Maokai from behind, but there's the Empress Divide, keeps him back, but the culling will it finish TML? TML does eventually go down to a nice culling, and then the flash over. Double kill for Nuclear against Lunar, and Nuclear comes in. Kakarot also gets killed. Triple kill for Nuclear's Lucian. What did I say? Gnar with no armor. He buys the Chain Vest now, but it's a little too late. You can see a little bit of the same smirk that Piglet had in that clip. It's like the, ha, I'm back, that kind of smile. And Nuclear, 8-0-5. And you can see why he was frustrated against Samsung. He clearly has a lot of pride in his AD carry play. And he did just get a triple kill. 8-0-5. Feeling pretty good. 1,700 gold left in the bank for Lucian. And then, I mean, Soul also with a really good teleport going on to Thresh. Did get pushed back by Empress Divide, but I believe the snare still went through. And then the Morgana Dark Binding hitting Thresh, giving Nuclear time to kill him with the culling, and then continue putting out damage onto Lunar's Sivir. Well, XENICS' hope is, hey, we've got Azir. If we can last out 20 more minutes, we have hope. But until then, 7,000 gold lead for Prime, 10 kill lead. Towers are even, but 1 stack of Dragon also for Prime. And the best thing is, their AD carry has most of the kills. He's been part of 13 kills out of 14, so pretty much all of them. So Kakarot pushing down bottom lane on his own. See how long that lasts. Maokai probably going to head over there now just to meet him right at the tower so he can soak up all of that experience and gold. Last Whisper and QSS finished for Nuclear. That's going to... Wow, that's a really good buy for him at this time because he got both the Last Whisper to continue dishing out more damage, but also the QSS to prevent any type of crazy ult from Sejuani or a really nice death sentence coming in from TML. Dark Binding not hitting this time around, but still 118 score for Sasha. But there is the ultimate 3-man knockout from Nautilus, but no follow-up as Kakarot shows up from top. But here comes Nuclear. There's some Mega Gnar. He's going to shove 2 people back. Catch and Secret gets stunned. Secret's going to get pulled back by the Flay. A good kill for XENICS. 4 assists, and Azir picks it up. There's the slow, but the Black Shield going to keep Sasha alive. Lots of damage came through from Lunar, though. Prime needs to watch out. I mean, Nuclear might be strong, but it only matters if Nuclear has a chance to hit people. And what is XENICS going to do here? I mean, the Scuttle Crab is going to see them at Baron, so I don't think you can do that, especially when you still have things like Morgana waiting to go in. Morgana doesn't have a Zonias yet. They're still just going for a lot of damage first, so she can't jump in with her ultimate anytime too soon. And, I mean, for the good news for Prime is that it was Secret who died, so it's not the end of the world. It's not like they lost Lucian. If they lost Lucian, the game would have flipped right on its head, but it was just the Nautilus. So it's like, oh well. For XENICS, again, all eyes on Azir. I mean, Sivir's doing okay too. It's just compared to Lucian that she seems really behind, but she's doing fine. Has an IE, has 3 core items basically. Azir has 2.5, which is sort of poor. TML gets caught by Secret, but maybe Secret got caught by all of XENICS as he goes down to Candy. I think Secret underestimating the damage that can come out from Candy and Lunar here. And Catch is going to show up at Baron Pit, but he's got to watch out. He takes a little bit of poke from Candy. But yeah, Candy only has 2 core items for now, so not able to do as much damage to the front lines of Prime. Still will hurt against the likes of Nuclear. And Sejuani tries to chase through on Catch, but Catch body slamming away as soon as he puts the ward down out of fear. Now, XENICS, Candy did pick up another kill, so 3-1-2 for him now. Can he come back into the game and put XENICS in their spot for Champion Summer 2015, or will Prime extend the match to the last one and say, we still want that spot, we're going to take it away from you right under your nose and try to win a 2-1 series? We'll find out soon enough. At this point, so much of this is based on how much do both teams want it, because their careers get shifted heavily depending on this last match. I mean, for these guys, sure, they're on an organized team, but they have not had a chance to play in Champions before. The organizations have in the past, but not these rosters. So all 10 players really desperately wanting to get in. Prime also has 8 people on their roster, so I guess overall they will be giving more joy to more people. Because 8 players will be happy. Compared to XENICS, who only have 6 people. Next Dragon up in 20 seconds. Prime leading 2-1 and Dragon stacks. Will they get the third one for the movement speed buff? They are up 6k gold. They have also shoved, I guess both sides have been shoved in all the tier 1 turret towers on both sides. Vision is actually pretty lacking on the bottom side of the map by both teams. So that's not the biggest issue nor the difference here. But hey, hello Soul. Already down to half health, but he's getting pincered pretty hard. We do have Sejuani and Thresh. There's the Flay and the Death Sentence. Nice prediction on that flash going forward by Soul. Soul is pretty tanky, so how long can he last? There's the culling, and there goes Shaft getting pulled back by the dredge line. Nuclear gets a kill. He goes legendary. 905. Kakarot gets held back by the Dark Binding. Transforms into Mega Gnar. That doesn't give you the right to break out of the binding, though. And Prime with a good gank onto Shaft and Co. on XENICS' side of the map. Leading the kill score 15-6 now for Prime. Lucian is very strong. Now, all of Prime now had the chance to go back home, get some new things, new shiny toys, and then come towards Dragon. Looks like XENICS will just allow it. Yep, 4 people already there. Morgana just gonna farm up any jungle creeps that they can. And right now, sorry about that, guys. Trying to blow my nose. I know there's some pauses here in this last game, but the game is pretty interesting, so don't let that fool you. XENICS did show up the top lane a lot. So XENICS trying to respond. This is what they did in the early phases of the game too. As soon as Prime tries to shove the advantage a lot, they went ahead and tried to trade it, but here comes Maokai from behind, gets the snare onto TML. Azir trying to poke down Secret, but Secret will go ahead and get the stun. Another kill for Prime as Catch finishes off that one. Nuclear is here. Maokai gets stopped by the Sejuani ult. That is going to be saving the XENICS roster from a slaughter here in front of the Baron pit, which would have very easily led to a simple Baron by Prime. Azir trying to keep them zoned. Who got the smite off? Was it Catch? He did get a blue buff, it seems. So yeah, it looks like Catch just stole that blue away from XENICS, and Prime actually just going to go ahead and start Baron. It's already down to half health. Kakarot senses it. Kakarot can turn into Mega Gnar. He isn't ready for Mega Gnar. Can he get the ultimate in? He goes on to Nuclear. He stuns him against the wall. Nuclear gets the QSS off, but Nuclear is still pretty low. Kiting away from outside. There's the Culling trying to chase through onto Kakarot. He flashes forward, but Azir turns around and gets an instant kill onto Nuclear. Lunar still alive too. A double kill for Azir to finish off the fight in favor of XENICS. Nuclear got a little too ahead of himself. Thought he was truly legendary, but at any point in time, any champion can die in League of Legends. He got shut down from his 9-0-5 score, 9-0-7 at this point. And XENICS turns things around. Only 4.5k behind now. Only 7 kills behind. Teleport coming in from Kakarot. Will XENICS pick this Baron up? Morgana showing up. There's a death sentence, thankfully, for the Black Shield. Doesn't die, and eventually Azir picks up the kill on the Baron, and Baron buff goes to XENICS on the blue side. And now this game, really, I told you, one big mistake. The watermelon explodes into bits. And 13,000 gold. And again, Azir does not care if you have a lot of assists or if you have a lot of kills. Watch this. Oh, flashes over the Dark Binding and goes right in. Nice ult by Gnar, and Nuclear's behind. Now, what's really important is here, Lunar also spell shields that, but he slides forward to try to get a kill. His ultimate doesn't connect, and the Sand Soldiers are right there waiting for him. So Candy just instantly retargets his Sand Soldiers, kills Lucian, and then it's pretty straightforward from there. I mean, Soul can be tanky and whatnot, but Lucian's really the biggest damage source from Prime right now. Morgana hurts, but that's mostly assuming that the Dark Binding connects. And without that, she's not going to hurt too much. And Dark Binding is a single target spell. A skill shot, but single target. And Culling just to clear the wave at this point. My, how things have changed. That Culling was a death note towards XENICS just a few mere minutes ago. And now it's used to clear off minions desperately before they push up to the tower. The Cannon minion hoping to do some work with that Baron buff in the bottom side of the map, but XENICS continuing to push forward. And yeah, with that Azir doing pretty well now, XENICS feels pretty comfortable. Again, Azir doesn't care about your score as long as he hasn't died too much and he's farmed up enough to hard carry. And now he has his third core item, his Void Staff. We saw him finish that a little while ago. So Prime should be very aware of the power that Candy has from here on out in this game. Prime's push in the top lane, Soul shoving it through all in all, will eventually achieve breaking down the tier 2 tower. And XENICS will have to respond to that a little bit. And Sivir also has a lot of damage. Luden's Echo now done for Candy. Suddenly, now at 4 core items. Very quickly getting big here for this Azir. He can push. He can do a lot of single target damage. He has Emperor's Divide for dislocation during team fights. Uh-oh, Lunar gets caught. There's a spell show, but he gets knocked back with the explosive cask. Oh, boy. I don't know how much more excited I can get about these plays that simply extend the game. XENICS, Lunar getting caught out, and that allows Prime to try to get their lead back. XENICS still did close the gold gap ever so slightly, and like I said, even if the gold gap stayed the same for the rest of the game, XENICS still had a good chance of winning if it continued to stay that way, because that means they were playing so consistent enough that Candy could continue to grow. And it's still kind of true, although Lunar did get caught at the end there alone. Azir is still doing just fine, and Sivir's still going to hurt too. Her ultimate is still going to do a lot of work, and she's working towards that QSS for herself now. Meanwhile, Nuclear is still sitting on the 4 core items, has that Bloodthirster now too, on top of the Last Whisper. Meanwhile, Kakarot has been building up his tank collection once again, and the same for Soul. Thornmail on catch too, that's a pretty good pickup. So Lunar can't make any mistakes like that again. Can't afford to get caught out, because you have 1 spell shield, but they have like 7 forms of hard CC, so. Dragon up now, 3 stacks for Prime. That sends it on to Soul, some decent damage, but not too crazy. Soul will happily still rejoin the fight. Mega Gnar was just used though, so Gnar is fatigued. Can they hold off long enough for Mini Gnar to start getting angry again? That's a big question for XENICS right now. And I think, you know, if you see that, you should just start the Dragon here for Prime. They do. It's still a little risky, but Soul doing his best Kakarot impression, and we do have Prime taking that Dragon, leading 4 stacks to 1. Prime needs only 1 more Dragon for the 5-stack buff, where it doubles all of its bonus stats. And that will make Prime a pretty strong force in this game. Meanwhile, oh wow, nice spell shield. I mean, these are things that Luna really needs to watch out for. Part of it, I think, was the minions eventually showed Morgana right before the Dark Binding came through. Otherwise, also really just good reaction speed in general as the binding came over the wall. Meanwhile, Soul and Kakarot have been trading places, just farming and pushing lanes back and forth. Both of them quite tanky at this point in time. Frozen Heart on Shaft on Sejuani, and that's going to help a lot against Lucian. Now, what else have we got? A new Neasly Large Rod coming in for Morgana. That will most likely finally be a Zhonya's. I could be a Ludens, but I'm going to assume a Zhonya's for Morgana. Other than that, nothing too new, too interesting from the item builds here. Guardian's Angel, I guess, for Soul's Maokai. And Witches coming back down mid to join up with the team. Morgana's going to go home. Kakarot pushing down bottom lane. And Lucian regrouping. 9, 1, and 8. Still has that QSS, still has the 4 core damage items. So Lucian's damage is technically stalled out at this point. He's also level 18. So what you do as XENICS is, all right, well, Lucian is not going to keep growing. So now all that's left for us to do is play catch-up. Candy just had a Giant's Bolt, right? Yeah, Candy has a Giant's Bolt in his arsenal. Wonder if that's going to be used for Rylai's or just something else in general. Like a Randuin's or Sunfire or something crazy like that. Meanwhile, Baron up in 5 seconds. Can Prime get it? They're trying to get vision in the enemy jungle right now. Candy trying to whittle down members of Prime so they can't either dive the tower or go for Baron. A lot rests on Candy in this game, as often does for Azir players, on their shoulders. And, wasn't able to clear that ward, so they know it's there. They're going to go ahead and clear it now as Gragas provides more vision. True vision around the Baron pit. Shaft gets a little curious, and it's okay because he just puts a ward down from over the wall. And Catch, yeah, we'll have to back out there. Now we do have Catch taking a lot of damage, but before that, Sashin's still trying to shove up the mid lane. Soul and Kakarot back at it again. Best buddies for life. Just tapping each other back and forth. That's going to be a long fight even if one ends up getting an advantage. And, alright, well, with Maokai down bottom, well, do they start the Baron here? for XENICS? Probably not, given that the tier 2 in mid is a little bit of trouble. Prime decides, all right, well, it's time to push through, but here comes the teleport from both teams. We do have Kakarot coming in from a little bit further behind. Culling trying to keep them zoned, but here comes the Sejuani ult. Will it hit? Oh, they do flash and jump over that corner of the wall. Nice Dark Bind to keep them at bay. Kakarot is pretty low on health. He can transform into Meganar, but Prime disengages very cleanly after taking an advantage with that tier 2 turret. Still a 5k gold lead for Prime. Curiosity, will it kill the cat? Maybe not yet, as XENICS finds that ward and clears it. But what about now, Prime? Do you have that Primal Curiosity? Doesn't look like it just yet. Scuttlecrab going to be taken by XENICS Shaft, and we are 44 minutes into the game. One team fight could change everything, given that, at least, especially for if it's in favor of Prime, because they did clear the tier 2 in mid also, along with in top lane. For XENICS, they have to take down a tier 2 no matter what, and then an inhibitor, and then, or inhibitor turret, inhibitor, and the double turrets at the Nexus, and then the Nexus. So a couple more steps for XENICS to take. So Prime has a little bit more margin, thanks for having saved their tier 2 towers. Now, what's Lucian gonna buy? That's what I'm curious. All right, just transforms it into a Mercurial Scimitar and sells his Static Shift for a Phantom Dancer. He has so much money if he's gonna do that. So, Lucian goes ahead. He didn't buy an Elixir though, so I guess not that much money. Just wanted a little bit more guaranteed attack speed, movement through minions, etc. from the Phantom Dancer. Dragon up in 40. I almost said 40 minutes. My gosh, that'd be crazy. Dragon up in 40 seconds. And Prime getting pushed back a little bit, ever so slightly here in the mid lane, but that also means that XENICS could be in trouble for a pincer. So because of that, Candy puts up his turret in that mid tier 1. And now Prime will not be able to flank them from all sorts of angles. Scuttlecrab is there in favor of Prime, showing vision. Or, yeah, for Prime rather, and so XENICS does want to watch out. Yeah, XENICS cannot have any member a little bit too far separated because Explosive Cask will do work. Kakarot gets spotted. Kakarot is very close to turning to Meganar. His ultimate is available. Dragon gets activated by XENICS. Meganar is going to transform just about now. Kakarot is a threat. XENICS goes ahead and starts Dragon, and Dragon's starting to attack them, but the fight begins. And look at Nuclear all the way at the back. Nice Explosive Cast brings Shaft all the way back, even though he is attacked, but a nice Gnar ult. Nuclear has to QSS, and Kakarot goes down first. Maokai still alive, goes back in for a Twisted Advance. He does have his Guardian's Angel, and Nuclear still at full health, doing really good damage. Candy eventually survives as he flashes out, or cleanses out rather, and then dashes out with his Sand Soldiers. Oh, and barely getting out there. So Prime technically gets an advantage, you could say, in a 2-1 kill advantage. But right now, Soul isn't that healthy. Nuclear does have to show up to threaten Lunar back. And he will ride the Lantern back home. Uh-oh, never mind. Maybe Soul gets caught a little bit, but there's a Twisted Advance. There's a Spell Shield. Will they continue forward? Azir is here. But Prime will get away with 5 stacks of Dragon. So, what can XENICS do here? Sure, they have Azir, but the opponent does have 5 stacks of Dragon. Let's look at this fight again. Focus on a couple of different spots. Nice Twisted Advance going in, but nice Emperor's Divide from Candy is actually what stalled things a lot here. Lunar able to put out his own damage from the side. Shaft flashes back out. A nice 3-man stun from Gnar's ultimate, but a good QSS from Nuclear allows him to come back into the game and dish out damage all throughout the fight. And, of course, after that, Candy was zoned out with low health, so Prime basically won that out as they got 2 kills, and Candy was near death and had to leave the fight. So Prime now understand that XENICS again has to play the Curiosity game. Will they bait the Baron? They do have 5 dragons, so it could be good. Prime leading in 6K, 5.4K gold, so at this point, that much gold, irrelevant. Irrelevant. What matters is the dragon stacks at this point. Or inhibitors if either team took them, but we're not seeing that. The tower situation matters a little bit in terms of vision, but I think XENICS accepted long ago that they're going to be playing on their side of the map until they can win the game. So that's not the biggest of issues right now for XENICS, nor is it really for Prime. And we're seeing pings down on Baron. XENICS is saying they're still doing it, they're just splitting off. And On the Hunt comes back, and TML is gonna get caught out. Nuclear gets that first kill. Dark Bind, and Candy has to avoid it. Candy still trying to go back in to assist Kakarot with damage, but it's not gonna happen as a double kill comes in. Emperor survived, but the flash over from Soul does get the Twisted Advance onto Candy. There's the barrel coming in. Sashin picks up a kill from over the wall. Candy and Lunar still kill Catch as he tries to chase through on Candy with low health. But that's still only Azir and Sejuani left. So Prime will turn back towards that Baron. Look at all this damage coming out from Nuclear. Nuclear is dominating this game. As we do see, finishes off that Baron. Meanwhile, Candy, 5-1-6. I mean, there are some limits at some point in time for League of Legends, and this might be one of them for Azir. Azir can carry the game really well once he gets fed. And I don't mean like fed out of control, I just mean fed himself. But look at this, TML gets caught. There's the explosive cast, really well done. And you do have Kakarot in the back, and he does turn into Mega Gnar. He does get a 3-man ult once again. There's another Q assist by Nuclear though. But we're not going to see much support for him. And meanwhile, we see Lunar and Candy trying to deal with Soul after that Emperor's Divide denied anyone from coming in. And we are going to see eventually the consolation prize with a kill on... with a kill there, in fact, for XENICS. With a kill on Catch is what I wanted to say. And now Prime, their 5th Dragon Stack has ended, so they're going to have to wait to get it again, but they have Baron now to carry them over till that point. And Prime, I mean, Prime is, they're choosing the targets really well. They're focus firing really well, and Lucian is dodging a lot of damage really well, in my opinion. Look at that culling. I mean, it would have killed Lunar if Lunar got hit by every single one. I guarantee it. Even if he spell shielded one of those bullets, Nuclear would have killed Lunar. 1v1, no problem. So Lunar does have to watch out a little bit, because if Lunar gets caught by any crowd control, Nuclear will focus fire that Sivir first. Meanwhile, 2 cannon minions going at it at the inhibitor tower. And XENICS, not really a way to answer that. Sivir the only one who could from afar. And there's a Boomerang Blade, helps kill off one of them. And then the second one with the Static Shiv and the auto attack. Eventually it still goes down though. Prime still pressuring it from the bottom side. And XENICS just trying to hold on to this inhibitor, but Baron buff still on Prime. Dark Binding, ooh, doesn't hit TML. Meanwhile, top side, the top laners are just going in on a 1v1. Prime is pretty eager to fight. And Lucian went for a Zephyr after selling his boots. We are at the 50-minute mark. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a game where Lucian has given everything to win this game. Prime really is in do or die time, as we do see Lucian 12-1-9. But again, I mean, all right, so now a 9K gold lead, but it's still not as big as it should be because we're 53 minutes into this game. So XENICS, I mean, they have an Azir who has 5 damage items. So they can also win the game too, but they need to kill that Lucian. It's all about how well they can stick to that Lucian, and he has a QSS. So how can they stick to him after blowing that QSS, the cleanse from the QSS? That's the big question here. A Dark Binding onto Shaft. Dragon is being started. Prime really wants this, because if they get the 5 Dragon stack at 53 minutes with this kind of full builds from everyone, it's going to matter a lot. It's whoever hits their first crowd control at this point. Dragon still being juggled. Nuclear trying to solo it by himself on the side here. On the Hunt being activated as XENICS just charges through, but Soul and Secret are charging for it. There's the culling coming in. It's not connecting too much. Emperor Survive trying to keep Prime at bay as Kakarot rushes forward. Nuclear still dishing out damage on the backside of the map, but so is Candy as Sashin picks up the first kill against Shafton. There goes Nuclear, but Nuclear goes too far forward. Gets killed by Kakarot, but a triple kill for Sashin. And now it's just Gnar and Thresh. There's the dredge line for Sashin, as Sashin helps pick up that last kill. The dragon gets taken by Gragas. Meanwhile, these two guys, eventually the body slam coming in and killing off the Gnar. And they don't have Lucian though, so can they finish the game? I don't think so. I don't know, it's 40 seconds. Teleport coming in from Maokai. Alright, maybe they can. Alright, looks like they should be able to here. 20 seconds, yeah, 4 members. Still have a cannon minion with a banner of command. They are going towards that Nexus turrets. 12 seconds left until Sejuani comes up. Sejuani doesn't have her ult though. And it's 4 people who aren't going to die that easily. So it does look like Prime should be able to tie up the series 1-1. And we will go to a match point game. The final game of this best of 3 to determine XENICS or Prime. Who's it going to be to fill in the last spot of Champion Summer 2015. Pretty intense match here, both in Game 1 and Game 2. But Prime, really props to Nuclear. Well,